from Art Journal Live. I keep doing that. It's Art Journal Life, not Art Journal Live, but I'm going live. Today, I have a couple things. So I am creatively drained. I exhausted myself early this morning and I was like, oh no, what am I going to do for my live? But we have an idea. So these are my index cards a day that I did last summer. And I often use these as jumping off points so I can figure out something that I want to make in my journal or whatever. This was a blot card. So I blotted it and then this image emerged looking like a cat. So that's where I got my art this day. So I'm going to be making art, but I'm also going to be keeping this in the back of my mind. So I like to start with something. I have a small piece of, well, it actually has some drawing on it, but a small piece of watercolor paper. It's cold pressed because it's got texture to it. And I have my black Tombow. Now this is one of those things that I just happen to love. Not everybody's going to love it. But I'm just going to start making things in the background and then adding because I like texture and things like that. So I like to add on top of what we're doing. So I'm just going to kind of get some, I thought because it was spring, I might maybe do some leaf things. I'm not interested in making things perfect. So I like the Tombow because it's water soluble and it's going to make a mess. And that's what I love about it. So this is super wet, my brush, and I'm just going to add water. And what I love about this particular, I'm just looking for a piece of paper here. What I love about this particular exercise is it's very unpredictable. And this black Tombow runs like crazy. And I love this. I think this is the one that is the juiciest out of all the Tombow colors. So all I'm interested in doing is getting some things down on my paper just to get going, just to have things underneath, right? So now the idea of making sort of a thicker line like this. Oh, hi, Sandy. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm doing this basically to show you because the idea of just letting it run and go everywhere on the page is just too tempting. This is what I love to do. Just keep adding water to it. Anyways, this Tombow thing goes everywhere. And I don't hate it. And I love that you can see the color coming out of the black. You know, black is not really black. It's a mixture of all colors. And you're saying, this is a mess. What are we going to do with this? So this is my underlayer that I'm working on here. But I like to have... Now, trust me when I tell you this would be better if I let it dry, but we're just going to let this happen the way it is, okay? So I love this. I mean, there's just no question about it, but for this purpose, I am going to wipe some of this up. So I love the way the black just runs. I mean, what else can I tell you? It's just super good to me. Okay, so I'm going to leave this like this. Again, I think if I could let this dry, it would be fabulous, but we're here on camera, so I'm not going to just let it dry like that. So I have my gesso here, which I often use as white, and it needs to be mixed. So I'm just going to do a little quick stir. And I'm going to put a little, now I know the page is already white, but I'm just really looking to take this back a little bit here. So that's why I'm putting it on the paper like that. So it's going to be part of my white layer, so part of my underlayer right there. And I have this hotel key card, and I'm just going to mix it all up. This is going to give me some texture. It's going to run the black, and I love that. Again, if I were by myself and I weren't filming for you, I would let this dry. I don't want to turn on a dryer or anything, but I guess I could, but I'm not gonna. Let's just go with it. So this, of course, is one of my favorite colors. This is Dick Blick's Quinacridone Magenta. This is just me. So I'm going to add a little of that to my paper. And I don't know. So now I'm going to do the smush test, right? This is what my inspiration was. I'm just going to fold this in half. So even though we're called Art Journal Life, there's nothing stopping us from just doing it on pieces of paper and adding the paper later to what we want to do. Ooh. Okay, hopefully this will dry quick. So I see this emerge. This looks like a butterfly to me. We're going to run with that. We are going to run with that. Then I have this, which is still unopened, which is interesting. And I have to stir it. So this is Payne's Gray. And I'm going to work with the Payne's Gray a little bit. It's not black. It's dark, dark blue. And I'm just going to get a brush that I want to use. Let's try this one. And okay, so I see this. I'm going to call this a butterfly. And I'm just going to go with that. I'll outline it in a little while, but this little X spot was what it looked like to me. And that doesn't mean that's what it's going to come out and look like, by the way. So now this is still pretty, you could see it's shiny, so it's still kind of wet. Where do I want to go next? These are woodies I'm using here. So I'm just creating this. And these are water soluble also. So I'm just creating this border. Sometimes this is where I go when I don't feel like I have anything else. I think we're going to add some marker making to this. While I wait for it to dry a little bit. So this is all I do until I get to a point where I almost just knocked my cup over here. That wouldn't have been good. Till I get to a point where I feel like I want to change it up a little bit. Now, as I said, sometimes these things stay, sometimes we cover them up. I definitely want to cover some of this up for whatever reason, and I just go with it. Now, maybe this is just too obvious for me, and maybe that's the reason why. And maybe this is how it goes. So while I had the butterfly is disappearing. The layer is wet, and I'm thinking I want to find, I don't know if I have any scraps that I can add to this. I'm knocking things over, I can tell you that. So let's see if I can find some scraps that I like. These are pretty much cut out pictures and nothing that I really want to add. Which is weird because I normally have things on my desk that are very scrappy. And I even like this. So maybe we'll add this. So sometimes I don't know where I'm going with all this, as you can tell. And I just let it happen. My glue stick is very weird here. It's almost like melted. And maybe I want to add more of this Payne's Gray. So often your paintings or your artwork or whatever goes through these moments where it feels like it's, what is it? What's going to happen? Where am I going with this? I'm struggling today. Do you ever have those moments where you're really just struggling with what you've got going on? This is one of those moments. I'm not really sure where I want to go, what I want to do. I have a lot of things in front of me that I could use, but I think part of what's holding me back is I feel like this is a little wet. I'm definitely going in for some more gesso to mix a little gesso in here. Now, the other thing you can do is scratch into your things. And I think this is really just wet and I'm making more of a mess of it. So let's see. What other interesting things do I have? I was trying to keep it sort of cohesive, or what I thought was cohesive, but you know, it might need scribbling in other colors. I don't like that. Let's try this one. Maybe it needs a little bit of something light. Sandy, you are 100% right. She says sometimes we're just painting to paint and sometimes to create. So this is just a mess. But I keep going, so I don't like where that went at all. So I'm just going to grab a piece of paper towel. Now I can't help but think, do I need to dry this a little bit more? Now see, I might like this more by rubbing it out, right? And sometimes this is what you get when you're doing this, right? And you have to step away and look at it differently. It went awry on me maybe, but it's not like I won't come back and do something with it. The question is what, and where am I going to go, and what am I thinking? So I have this, so maybe we'll do a little stamping with something like that. I'm looking for, you know what I have here? I don't know if this will do it, but let's try it. I have my small jelly plate. So let's roll this out with a little paint. Stamp on it with the, now that's gonna look exactly like what's on there. But let's try it. I'm gonna try it. I'm willing to take the risk, right? Not all of our pieces are always masterpieces. Let's just go with this much of a jelly print. Ooh, I don't know how that will come out, but let's try it. That's more of a mess. So sometimes you do something like this. And sometimes, ooh, so what's happening there is it's picking up some of this leftover paint. This I love. it's picking up some of that. You guys, this is the grunge that I clamor for. Okay, we're going to work with this. So then I might, who knows? I don't know if this will come out, but let's try this. Nope. So this is pretty much a mess in here. I think I need to find another color. Did I bring another color with me that would work? I'm going to try it. So this is a bright green that I probably have to mix. Ooh, these are dry. So I'm just trying, this is apple barrel and this is a bright, bright green. I'm going to put a little on there. I don't know. I don't know, everybody. What do you think? I don't know how this is going to go. Yep, that paint is separated. So that's going to be a little bit of work right there. Let me find a good color. You know what I need is white, probably. So let's do this. Pick up that green a little bit. And I'm just wiping this sprayer off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a white down in my yes. So let's look for a white. I'm going to put white down. I'm going to spread it out a little bit. That looks a little thick, but let's see. Oops. Okay. And let's see what happens now. Anything could happen. And it's okay. It's just one of those days. Yeah. Right, Sandy? I came here today not knowing what I was going to do. Oh, and see, I don't really care for that either. But I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to keep going while I'm here. I'll add to it and I'll show it to you tomorrow. So these are the under layers anyway, and I like to add things on top. So we'll keep working it and I'll show you what I do. And tomorrow's another day. I still think that this piece of paper holds some hope. I don't know. Bright yellow in the middle, yes. I don't really have bright yellow paint, but this is a Caran d'Ache crayon. So maybe we do this. And Caran d'Ache, it's a water soluble. These are water Neocolor too, so they're water soluble. So I am going to thank you, Sandy, for your thoughts. I am going to leave this here for now. We're going to come back tomorrow. I'm going to let this dry and we're going to see where we can take it. So Again, I like layers and layers and layers of my journals, so this is happy stuff to me. It can't all be good all the time. Sometimes you're going to come back through and you're going to be like, ooh, I'm really taking that back. Like maybe it's a lot of black and a lot of white and then more color on top of it. You just never know what's going to happen. But let's see what happens. Thank you, Sandy. Thanks for being here. And thank you, everybody. So let's see what happens for tomorrow. And I will see you all then. Bye.